The playoffs are stressful. You live, you die with every possession. Watching your team have to battle not only the opposition, but sometimes some refereeing, it can be frustrating. But you know what? Every now and then, you have a game like tonight that is just fun, especially in that fourth quarter. The first 3 quarters of this game, Matthew, were kind of ticky-tacky, kind of frustrating, kind of what the fuck is going on? And that fourth quarter was just beautifully magical, my friend.
Yeah, that's why the Suns, I think, just held it together through the first 3 quarters. It could have got away from them. They could have just been down their luck. They could have actually gotten into it with the refs even more, but they didn't. They managed to keep making their twos, bring the defense back a little bit in the second half, and then we all know what happened in the fourth quarter. I mean,
Chris Paul happened.
Chris Paul happened again. How many times are we going to see this? I don't even know. Dude, I just don't even know what to say anymore. I don't. Lost for words.
Fantastic. Just unbelievably fantastic. The way that Chris Paul dominated as he has a couple times so far in this playoffs. That fourth quarter got the team behind him, and then next thing you know, they're outscoring the Dallas Mavericks in the fourth by a final score of 40-26 in that quarter alone. So unbelievable game. These are the fun ones, Matthew. These are the fun ones. As Cousin Will says in the chat, he says 6 down, Barbosa to go. We're 10 wins away from a title. Will. Thank you, Cousin Will, for that $9.99 in the super chat. We truly appreciate that. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're consuming this content. If you want to become an elite jamster, simply massage that join button, if you will. Click the thumbs up button while you're here, too, if you're watching along live on YouTube or a little bit later. And if you'd like to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it right here on the pod. And again, subscribe. 33% of all of our viewers are non-subscription-based viewers. So if you're one of that 33%, just hit the subscribe button. Help us out. Those little things go a long way to help us put out this content that we love to do. So a great win for the Phoenix Suns. They're up 2-0 in the series against the Dallas Mavericks. They shot a franchise best 65% from the field in this game. Set a franchise record tonight relative to field goal percentage. They've defeated the Dallas Mavericks now 11 straight times, Matthew. If you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, how much do you hate the fucking Suns?
Yeah, you hate them. You wish you would have chose Ayton with the first pick, right? That's what they're thinking. They're like, we should have traded down to get DeAndre Ayton. Or else maybe just went to go get Chris Paul in free agency. Who knows? One of those. Or a trade for him. Whatever it was.
Something or other. But I'll tell you, I mean, complete ownage for quite some time now, which brings us to chugging with the sickos.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew, what are you chugging tonight?
Water.
Mystery sauce again. Chugging with the sickos. Another win for your Phoenix Suns. Down it if you got it, Suns fans. Doesn't it ever get old? Doesn't ever get old. Let's talk about this fantastic victory for your Phoenix Suns. A dominating win by your Phoenix Suns, a 20-point victory in Game 2 for the Phoenix Suns. And we know where we're going with this one. No, I'm not starting with the referees.
Matthew, I got to ask.
I got to ask. Yes. If Reggie Miller was stuck on an island and only could bring one thing with him, do you think it'd be Luka Doncic?
I was going to say, is it Luka Doncic? Yeah,
that's his flotation device to get off of the island.
And well, hold on, we got to bring out the new segment. All right, if you join us on Twitter's
new
Spaces,
drop, y'all.
Yeah, new drop. Let's see how this one plays out. Reggie Says. Oh, very
it. I
good.
love it.
Made in 2 seconds in between commercials. Just some things he throws out there because we're gonna be on a ride with Reggie. All right, we're gonna be on a ride with him throughout the playoffs. So we might as well have a segment because we're gonna be talking about him a lot. But yeah, Doncic, there's absolutely no one that can guard him on this team when DA was guarding him early in the first quarter. And DA does a good job. I think even last game, 40 whatever points from Doncic doesn't matter because they lost the game. The Suns play really good defense against him. I don't care how many points he scores. And Reggie says no one can guard him. Of course, it's hard to guard a superstar in the NBA, but the Suns do just as good as anybody else, probably the best out of any team against Doncic. And Cameron Johnson had a few bad takes against him defensively. After that,
Yes.
Cameron Johnson did really good in the second half. So it's just funny to say that. And the other thing that he did throw out there was trying to put some wood on Devin Booker. That was a pick from Bertans. So I guess Bertans is trying to throw some wood at him. I guess he must know about our Big Dick Book segment or something on here. So yeah, I mean, Reggie Miller would bring Luka, right? I mean, who wouldn't? Reggie says.
Yeah, Reggie says too much. And you're right. For those of you who follow us on Twitter, we do halftime Twitter spaces where Matthew and I hop on Twitter and we just talk about what we are viewing in that first half. And that's one of the things that obviously we talked about. And Matthew said in that Twitter space that he was going to premiere a new segment, Reggie Says, because you're right. We're going to be hanging out with Reggie Miller throughout the duration of this Western Conference run. And we're going to hear him say some stupid shit. And he said a lot of stupid shit. And the way that he talked about Luka Doncic in this game, I mean, it was just an unbelievably outpouring of just love and admiration for everything that Luka Doncic does. And I'll tell you this, when your usage rate is what Luka Doncic's usage rate is, guess what? You're probably have an opportunity to put up some amazing statistics, right? So Luka in this game ends with a total of 35 points. He was 13 of 22 from the field, 5 of 10 from beyond the arc, had 7 assists and 5 total rebounds. He was a negative 28 tonight. The Suns' strategy has become apparent, and yes, I probably will be writing a piece for Brightside about this one. This is what they're going to do. They're going to let Luka get tired with offensive orchestration in the first half, and then they're going to unmercifully attack him on the defensive end in the second half. And you saw that in the fourth quarter, the way that Chris Paul consistently ran actions to get Luka Doncic on him and then just put him in the washing machine and twirled him around so he didn't know which way was up and scored at will. And the reason for that is because he was tired. And you saw it in the third quarter. If you look at the statistics for Luka in the third quarter, slowed down immensely after a first half in which he scored 24 points. He only had 2 points in the 10 minutes played in that third quarter. He had only 1 assist. He was 1 of 3 from the field. And it's one thing that you and I talked about on the Twitter space at halftime was Luka's getting kind of everything he wants because the Suns were running a lot of soft switches against him in this game, right? And what that means essentially is they played a lot of drop defense and Mikal Bridges wasn't fighting through any screens. If Luka Doncic wanted to do a kind of a quick switch and get somebody on him, whoever he wanted to do, he did. And that was the Suns' strategy in the first half. And then once he starts to funnel himself towards the paint, they start to body him up a little bit more, make it a little bit more difficult from him because we have the length from our wings to defend him. And it ultimately tired him out. And then in the second half, a lot more aggressive switching and then attacking him on the defensive end. Great strategy.
It was awesome. And when the Suns were allowing the Mavericks to pretty much make every three in the second, it didn't seem as scary. At Twitter Spaces, we didn't seem as nervous. It was a 2-point lead at half or 4-point lead by the Mavericks.
Yeah, 2 point at half.
2 point. So it wasn't something where it's like, oh no, what's gonna happen? Luka's draining threes. It's kind of like the Suns are letting them, just get it all out of their system. All those threes, get them all out of there. Then when it comes to second half, and especially the fourth quarter, will really hit you at your weakness, which is of course Luka. When he's tired, and you're saying he's tired, it's like, I know the usage rate is up there, but Luka isn't getting to the rim as much. It seems like, he's trying to. The Suns aren't fouling him either. They're laying off him. They're trying to make him make the basket. And the way that Luka is when he gets to the rim, he's trying to draw the foul every time.
Yes.
And if you watch the difference between him and what Chris Paul did in the fourth quarter, Paul gets all his shots off not trying to draw a foul, right? He has good clean looks because he's evading the defender. So the other thing that Luka does, the opposite, basically, where Luka will try to draw the contact. And when the Suns don't give him that, he is so bad at making those shots. A lot of them are bricks, and he has to turn around and try to find someone with
Yes.
7 turnovers and throw it
Desperation.
out of bounds. He's doing the same thing again. And if Luka can just figure out how to make his shots by not trying to draw contact other than the step back three, then he'd be unstoppable. But right now, when he's trying to draw the contact and the Suns aren't giving it to him, and the refs aren't, because there's no fouls. A couple maybe that they actually called, but the Suns are fouling him. So he doesn't know what to do, right? And he gets frustrated. He's yelling at the fans are yelling back at him. But why is that news? Everybody's
it was the way he
entered
stopped.
that arena.
Did you see
everyone's
that
yelling.
though?
Yeah,
the way he so for those of you who didn't watch the game, one, what the fuck's wrong with you? Watch the game. And two, Luke, we watch us and we'll explain it. Luke is going to the locker room at the end of the third quarter to go get some sort of Botox injection or something. And as he's walking, he stops and he turns because some fan was chirping at him. They were chirping at him the whole time. And you're right, the way that the Suns don't put contact on Luka when he's seeking it, because we have length. We are switchable and we have length, and we are beating him to his spots, and we're putting him in situations where lesser teams would foul or be overly aggressive because they feel like they have him, and we're not, and he's looking for contact. And when you're looking for contact, like that's one of the issues with Cam Payne sometimes, right? Is he seeks out contact so much that he's missing the bunny layups. And it's like, dude, just focus on the layups. If the contact's there, it'll happen. And that's been kind of the strategy with Luka Doncic through 2 games is like, yeah, go for 35, go for 45, take the majority of the team shots, but we're going to tire you down so you are no longer a master facilitator in that second half. We're going to wear you down. And unlike game 1, the team didn't let off the gas at all in the second half and the fourth quarter, and we win by 20. We could have won the last game by 20 if we didn't let our foot off the gas. And a lot of Mavericks fans, I read a lot of their threads. I go to MavsMoneyball.com. Obviously, I was on the subreddit, which we'll do the subreddit stakeout here in a little bit. And I know that they're shook and they're scared because they know that the Phoenix Suns didn't or didn't really complete the game last time. And we completed the game this game. And it was behind the efforts of the one and only point guard, one Christopher, I don't know his middle name, Paul.
The point guard.
What was interesting about Chris Paul in this game is how the Mavericks initially started the game, and they were focused on bodying up CP3, right? They were doing what the Suns have kind of done to Luka now for the last 2 games, is put Chris Paul in a lot of the defensive actions. They're running, everything he had to do in the first half was run through screens. They were bodying him up. Reggie Bullock, who is it, Bullock or Bullock?
Bullock, Bullock, like his locks of turds on his head.
I guess so, because Kevin Harlan kept Bullock. It's like it's like Bull is Bull, and then he says like another L, Bullock. It should just be Bullock, but whatever. But Bullock was pressuring him full court when he could, not nearly at the same rate or with the same pestering attitude that the New Orleans Pelicans did. But that was their focus at the beginning of the day, was we're going to play physical and we're going to body up CP3 and we're going to try to wear him down. They didn't stay committed to it. And that, like nearly as much as New Orleans did, right? Like when you were watching the New Orleans series and they were pestering Chris Paul, and they did so for the entire game, weren't you like, fuck, man? And with that, when Dallas is doing it, they let off of it, right?
Yeah, because they're imposters. When it comes to that, when it comes to the full court defense, they have length and stuff for perimeter defense. But when they're actually trying to do what another team's doing, it's just imposter syndrome, right? They have to look at themselves. Imposter syndrome usually just means you're actually succeeding and you're looking down at yourself like, why am I here? But honestly, the thing that Dallas is doing, they're just copying what the Pelicans have done. But it doesn't work as much because Chris Paul, he's giving up to other guys to bring the ball down the court, which should always be the thing, right? Have multiple guys come down, just take the ball up. And the one thing that, that the Mavericks, the reason they're doing this is to disrupt the offense, the half-court offense, of course, for Chris Paul to bring it down and set things up. So I'm sure Monty, for adjustments, was like, you know what, let's work some kinks out to where we can get the offensive flowing without him. It's not like he's just taken out of the offense, but wait for him to get down, then start to roll into something. But Chris Paul tonight, man, it's disgusting because I think that what he's doing out there is just it's never really has this ever really even been done before? I mean, if he goes through and the Suns end up winning the finals this year, and he has 2 or 3 games like this every series, I've never seen this from a guy, of course, his age, but in a point guard situation, like in the point guard position, right? I mean, AI was that good, but his team was so bad around him. But
Isaiah Thomas had the
Isaiah
ability.
Thomas,
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas had the
the
ability
early
to
one, right?
take. Yes, not the one who's currently playing in
Wow.
Charlotte.
That's Celtics here.
The one who in the late 80s had the ability to take over games. It was unbelievable to watch, because I remember it as a kid. You know, I was a young lad. I was 7, 8, 9 years old, and I remember I'm like, the smallest guy on the court is dominating this game, and that's what's happening with Chris Paul right now.
Yeah.
You know, you look at his final statistics in this game. He ends with a total of 28 points. He was 11 of 16 from the field, 5 for 5 from the free throw line, 1 for 2 from beyond the arc. He had 8 total assists and 6 rebounds. But again, it's his fourth quarter that is of note for the third time in this playoff run. Twice he scored 19 points in the fourth. Tonight he was 6 of 7 from the field, 14 total points. He had 2 assists. He assisted or scored on the first 19 points of the fourth quarter for the Phoenix Suns. What he's doing is just unbelievable at his age. I mean, let's just face it. You know, Steve Nash at the back end of his career was so dog tired because the way the Suns rode him. By the Western Conference Final, he was toast. The way the CP3 paces a game is unlike anything I've ever seen. You see it throughout the game where, to your point, other guys are taking the ball up, doing different things to start the actions, and it's really kind of minimal the impact that CP3 has to have on this team because his team's so good, right? Mm-hmm. Like you said, with AI had to do everything because his team was that bad, and they went to the finals that one year when like Eric Snow had a great year, you know, and Mutombo and whatnot. But as Mario Lopez says, his size and his age combined to do what he's doing right now is unbelievably bonkers. And I am so happy to sit back and watch it. And we watched it all during the regular season, but to see it happen like this in the playoffs with it on the line is just like, cherish these moments, Suns fans. These are the moments that years from now we're gonna look back and talk about what CP3 did in the playoffs in the fourth quarter, because it's unbelievable. And I wish Reggie Miller would talk a little bit more about that instead of while Luka Doncic is getting schooled. He's like, yeah, he doesn't even look tired there, Kevin. It's like, dude, he just gave up another fucking layup to CP3.
You know, and the thing is like, you're saying this about a guy that's played the majority of the year, came in out of shape, and then you're just talking about the second series. If he's going to be tired, it's like, I know he's the whole team, but still there's a lot of mistakes out there by Doncic. But the thing is, Chris Paul earns everything that is said about him on the broadcast. It's never talked about until it actually happens. You know, when he's actually taking over a game, then it's Chris Paul time, right? But the thing is with Luka, it's like you hear about it throughout the whole game, whether he's throwing turds or not. It's just Luka. So that's the thing that is annoying, but I don't really care.
I don't care either. We got the dub.
Exactly. And with Chris Paul really taking over, it just really overshadows the other guys on the team, especially DeAndre Ayton. Did he even play the fourth? No. Devin Booker, did he even play this game? Well, he kind of did.
He closed it out in the fourth. Yeah,
he did.
And he had a great third quarter.
But it makes you forget about what we have on the scene when a guy like this takes over, because all of them can do it. Almost Mikal Bridges has done it. DeAndre Ayton has done it. Not like Chris Paul, and Devin Booker has done it like Chris Paul too.
Yeah, the efficiency, the way that he navigates the paint, it's fun to watch. So again, make sure that you're appreciating what you're seeing, Suns fans, because seeing Chris Paul execute, be a surgeon, and then do one of my favorite things that he does, and that's call a timeout for the opposition. It's such a dick move, and I love it. You know, where he's so on fire. He's so on fire that after he makes a shot, he turns to the Mavs bench, looks at Jason Kidd, and calls the timeout for him. It's just like, and then they call the timeout. I feel like he farts on them a lot too. I bet you Chris Paul just like, I bet you he's a crop dust. I bet you the time you walk back to your bench and all the Mavericks are walking back, he's crop dusting them all. Oh yeah, and they're sitting there.
He has to be.
They're like, who got the Parmesan fries in this section?
Who orders a Parmesan fries?
Who orders Parmesan
the whole section?
Matthew does, ladies and gentlemen. That's what Matthew does.
Big Dick Booker.
I wrote the game preview for Right Side of the Sun, and one thing I talked about, one, I called a big victory for the Phoenix Suns, so I will pat myself on the back for that. But two, I also called a very solid game for Devin Booker. We talked about it on the Twitter space at halftime. Devin Booker at halftime had 9 points. He was 4 for 8 from the field, and he just wasn't super involved. And I said in the Twitter space, I'm like, watch for Devin Booker to take over in this game. And in the third quarter, he did that. As the Dallas Mavericks were trying to survive the third quarter, they ended up scoring 23 total points. Devin Booker ended that quarter alone with, I'm trying to pull it up, boom shakalaka. He had 12 points on 4 of 8 shooting. So he just doubled essentially what he did in the first half. He was 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. He ends the night with a total of 30 points on 11 of 19 shooting. I love that. That's a great clip. 5 of 8 from beyond the arc. He had 4 assists and 4 rebounds as well. And I really think that this was Devin Booker's, now I'm feeling confident in Devin Booker being back after the hamstring injury. Game 6 against the Pelicans, he was more of a decoy. He had 13 points. The last game, he had 19 points. We really didn't need him to go off, but his shooting percentage really wasn't there. Tonight, he looked fantastic, Matthew.
Yeah, I think so in the second half. Book looked really good in the second half. Of course, when starting the game, he looked really swell. Starting the second half, what did he have? 8 straight points for the Suns, right?
Yeah.
So, he ended the third strong, finished the third strong, but also just, the rebound he had for the putback, that was huge in the third quarter. It was something where we realize now that Booker does other things, and grabbing that big board with the putback was huge. The next possession, he's guarded, double team, throw it out to, I think it was Shamet, wide open for 3. Then it's a perfect pass, cross court. He was so overshadowed tonight. It was a quiet 30 by him. And the only thing that I can say is he needs to get better as alley-oops, because he has so many opportunities with his alley-oops and he just misses them every time. So if he could just fix that one thing, it would be awesome. But other than that, it was a good game by him, man. It really was. But it's just still 30 points, whatever. It still doesn't seem like the same Book to me. It's still a good game by him. I'm just saying it doesn't feel like the same Book yet. So I'm not there yet. Let's see. I think on the road, he's going to put up some really great stats and some really good teams. But
that's why tonight is such a great night for him, because he's getting primed for that big 45-point performance on the road.
Ending,
yes, pointing at the Mavs fans and chirping with them and such.
He needs that, right? But I think we'll see that. I'm not saying he played bad, and I need a little bit of that Book. I don't know what it is. It's just not the same thing yet.
I agree. Still, 30 points is great, but a lot of it was really in garbage time.
That
I think he was vital in that bridge. That was the third quarter, where we come into that quarter, we're down by 2, and the Suns outscore the Mavericks by 8 points, 31-23, and that's behind the efforts of one Devin Armani Booker. And it was tag team tonight. It was, I'm going to attack the opposition. Chris, now you attack. Now you're going to take a seat with 5 minutes left in the game. I'm going to finish this bitch off.
Isn't that
we're
crazy?
good. Yeah, it's boom, boom, boom. Because when you look at the Mavs, they just don't have the depth. We knew this coming into the series. They play like an 8-man rotation. It's more of a 7-man rotation. With the fouls, which we'll talk about here momentarily, with the way that the fouls were being called in this game, everybody on both sides was in foul trouble. We'll talk about in the subreddit stakeout. I think that's when we can really spend some time talking about the fouls. But because of that, this is a team that just doesn't have the depth. So as if you can outlast them and you can continue to throw those blows. And that's what they were doing. They were just throwing haymakers, and they didn't have the ability to recover, because they're a team that likes to shoot the 3 ball, but they're not the best when it comes to the percentage from 3. Now, granted, in this game, they ended up shooting 41% from beyond the arc, but they made 17 threes and they made 19 twos. That's just not good balance to win a game. And that's what they get caught up in is continuing to chuck up those 3 balls. And I know what that's like, because we've been on the other side of that, not so much with this team, but with Suns teams in the past, where when you're down, you start chucking up 3s, and when you miss, it's just super deflating. And that's what makes this Suns team so efficient, so much fun, is they stick with the game plan. They'll have the possessions where they shoot their 3s, but they're going to dice you up from 2, and that's how they come back in games, is they just continue operating ad nauseum. It's boring almost to see them
Oh, it's the
execute.
worst.
It is, but it's
Oh
effective
my
as shit.
gosh.
It's unbelievably effective, and that's
Wait,
why
for
they
the Mavericks
win.
or Suns?
No, for
My
the
bad.
Suns. For the
Oh,
Suns.
I thought you were talking about how the Dallas Mavericks just keep jacking them up. And
Yeah,
no,
that's annoying as shit.
it's disgusting. If you're a Mavericks fan, it must be just tough because you're just like either it's a Luka step back or just there's some bullshit where they're trying to draw a foul. But dude, okay, so the Suns actually had a good night shooting the three, which is just crazy, and they actually
Yeah.
came out. Mikal Bridges with like the FU three, which was awesome because he had a good running shot in the first attempt was really awesome, and then his second attempt was just like FU. There's some guy in his face that shoots it over him, but that just shows you, I feel like, the comfortableness that this Suns team has with each other. So Mikal Bridges starts the game out great. He kind of goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Booker then takes over. Then you have a little bit of Ayton in the first quarter. Then he gets in foul trouble. Then you have Biyombo come in. It's endless. And you're talking about how Dallas has nothing. Dallas does have nothing. They have nothing. So they have to jack up the threes, and the Suns just have to wait till they're done. It's like, all right, are you finished yet? Are you finished, Bertans? All right. Are you going to get in a fight with Ayton? I'm glad Ayton threw him down on the ground that one time. And the rest didn't see it, but he just threw his ass on the ground. He was like making a statement with that.
Well, Bertans has no business being on the interior, man.
Exactly. And he doesn't have any business making more than, what did he finish with 6 points? I told you that was a career high, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, he had 9. Sorry. That's his career high now. So 9 points. And I don't want to just sit here and talk shit about the Mavericks because who knows, they might win the next game. But I'm just saying it's just so crazy how good this Suns team is depth-wise now this series, how they actually came together because they got those good wins to end the series against the Pelicans and kind of just rolled into this to where this looks like the Suns during the regular season now, which is what we've been waiting for last series. So here it is. This is it.
Yeah, it's a relentless offensive attack, and as you mentioned, it was Devin Booker in the third quarter. It was CP3 in the fourth quarter, and then some Devin Booker. But in the first half, it was Jay Crowder.
It's Jay Crowder.
Jay Crowder in the first half had 15 points. Matthew, do you know how many points he ended the game with?
He had 12, right?
15.
15, my bad.
I just said he had 15 in the first half. How did he end with 12?
Hey, I can't multitask like you. I was trying to look something up. And then, I'm all shaking my head over here.
12. He lost 3 points. They actually
you don't
took
listen
3
to
away
me.
at halftime. He ended the night with a total of 15 points. He had 0 points in the second half. But again, he was the one who was just, as per usual, just annoying the shit out of the opposition. But his 3-point ability, he ended the night with a total of 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. He was 4 of 7 overall. One thing that, again, he was doing that was very cerebral and very smart was, excuse me, was he was running, or Luka Doncic would just come running at him and jump, and Jay Crowder, like 2 or 3 times in that second quarter, pump faked him up, went around him, and then would dish it to like Bismack, and he would dunk it. And I thought that was very smart because, again, you're forcing Luka into these switches and then making him run and jump and expend energy in order to, and then it's a productive possession. So he did that a couple times. He hit his threes. He looked absolutely fantastic. What did you see from Jay Crowder tonight?
Yeah, this is the Jay Crowder game. I mean, 2 good games in a row, right? By him, he just kind of finds himself in this because he has a spacing now from 3. You know what? Actually, I take that back because the last series he did have some spacing. He was just missing wide open threes, which was nasty. But he has it again this game, just like Cameron Johnson, where they're wide open for 3, so you just got to knock him down. Even when Jay Crowder is covered, he's still jacking him up. But the thing is, when he's taking Luka Doncic off the dribble, anybody can, right? If Jay Crowder can do that, anybody can. And that's where it hurts the Mavericks because defensively they just can't hang in there. Yeah, they can get some threes, but they can't get stops. So if Jay Crowder's bringing the ball down like he does a few times for Chris Paul, setting up the offense, like you have a playmaker right there, a guy that can hit the 3, a guy that can get to the rim, and his pass is not that bad too when he gets into the lane. It's a lot to look out for the Mavericks. And when Jay Crowder is hitting on all cylinders, it's just too much. It's too much because Jay, a lot of times we just love Jay in there because he is just like the glue. He does everything for this team, for the starting lineup. He doesn't always have the biggest numbers in the box score, but when he does, it's like, dude, like, what are you going to do with this starting lineup? So Jay, just keep playing so we can keep this drop going.
Yeah, amen. It is one of my favorite drops. I am about to play probably my favorite drop. And the reason I'm going to play my favorite drop is because the Mavericks did make one adjustment that I thought that they would make. For those of you who, again, like to read, I write for brightsideofthesun.com, and I wrote that there was going to be 3 adjustments that I felt the Mavericks were going to make in Game 2 to try to have a more productive game. One of them was to try to focus more on rebounding, because that's something that the Suns are susceptible to. Well, you look at this game, the Suns out-rebounded the Dallas Mavericks 35-25. The reason there's only 25 rebounds for the Dallas Mavericks is because, again, the Suns shot 64.5% from the field, which is just unbelievable. The other thing I thought they would do is have better perimeter defense. Well, that didn't happen. The Suns were 13 of 25 from beyond the arc, which is 52%. But the one thing that they did do that I wrote in that article was they were going to attack the interior and try to get DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble, and that they did. DeAndre Ayton in this game only ended up playing a total of 18 minutes and 29 seconds because he was in foul trouble. He was 3 of 6 from the field, had 9 points, and looked good, but because of, one, the way that the whistle was out in full force tonight with the refereeing crew, and 2, because they were focused on trying to get him out of the game, we got, and JaVale McGee as well. I mean, they were attacking him too and getting him in foul trouble. We got plenty of Bismack Biyombo tonight.
Biz.
Bismack Biyombo, oh my God, 4 of 4. He also played 18 minutes. He had 23 seconds to DeAndre Ayton's 18:29. He also had 9 points, 3 total rebounds, and I think that he had an unbelievably fantastic game. He got caught on an island a lot with Luka Doncic, and he held his own, which is impressive. This is our 3rd-string center having to D up Luka Doncic, who I will tip my cat. He's a damn good player. He's a great offensive player. Did Luka score on him a couple times? Yes. But the fact that he's even out there doing switchability, those are the kind of things that wear down the opposition. Great performance from Bismack Biyombo tonight.
Yeah, hey, wait. Luka is out of shape still, man. He's still just not in shape. So
don't tell that to Reggie Miller.
Oh, yeah, exactly. He wasn't tired. Dude, the 2 feeds from Mikal in the paint, same exact kind of plays down there to get him an easy dunk. That was nice. Like, you always just see these guys coming off the bench, and Mikal's still in the game. And Mikal, even with Cameron Johnson, Mikal is such a good, assist. He's like the hockey assist, right? But he's on the end of the assist, but it's really set up from the top. You give it to Mikal on a cut, someone else cuts, and that's the next pass from Mikal. No one really looks out for that, and Mikal has that. Mikal can make the next play to lead to an easier basket.
Yes.
So Bismack was that guy, and Bismack was also the dude protecting the rim. A nice block towards the end on
Dorian Finney-Smith.
Finney-Smith Jr.?
Yeah, Finney-Smith Jr. It's not Finney-Smith Jr. We fucked up in the preview. People call it on YouTube. Yeah, okay. We both read the comments. It's good to know.
But, dude, I mean, the thing is, like, Bismack, we know these guys. Even when Ish comes in, I'm excited because I know these guys can really flow well with the offense, and they know what to do. I mean, the one time Bismack did mess up was when Chris Paul did take it to the rim, and he threw that lead pass that was perfect, but Bismack stopped. He stopped because he's just not used to it as much, right? And that was a turnover.
Yes.
But he can.
That was
hold
like
his
the
own.
one bad play he had. Yeah.
Yeah, and perimeter defense too. Like, he can just hold his own. That's why he's just so versatile, because he has. He's athletic, and he's also very, very quick. He's not as good lateral movement, but he can still stick with guys enough to make them have to work for it. So to have that, because he had all the fouls going on, it's awesome. And DeAndre Ayton, the fouls, bullshit fouls. It's just one of those games. It wasn't, because I'm not just saying this because I'm a Suns fan. We've watched those games even last year in the playoffs where DeAndre, it's like, what are you doing? Like, that is. You're fouling them, and you're calling the ref out saying it's not a foul, it's a foul. These ones were not fouls, for sure. 3 out of the 4 were not fouls. So he didn't have to play. It didn't even matter. I mean, DeAndre Ayton he wasn't a factor in it because he didn't have to because of Chris Paul. But it's just nice to know that we do have McGee, and then when McGee falls through, then you have Bismack, and that's something the Suns had prepared for this season going into the postseason.
Yeah, and I think that the depth has been unbelievable. This is what we had in mind when James Jones put together this team, and when Bismack kind of was that final piece. JaVale McGee, Bismack Biyombo, 2 guys that last season I unbelievably wanted. I love seeing them be as productive as they are, and I love seeing Bismack play and get the opportunity to play, just like Ish Wainwright. Ish Wainwright's another guy who obviously he came in at the end of the game. He hit a 3, but he got some early minutes too. And I thought that was a nice wrinkle for Monty Williams. Like, let's add a little bit more physicality out there, if you will.
Mhm.
He wasn't the greatest minutes from Ish Wainwright, but it was another interesting wrinkle. And that's what you can do when you're 15 deep, because that's what the Suns are. That's the advantage they have over the Dallas Mavericks. And that's why when you look at the Mavericks, you see the Denver Nuggets from last year, right? Except they don't have injuries like that team did.
That's what I do see. Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's a team that just doesn't have the depth, doesn't have the talent around Luka Doncic to truly stop the Phoenix Suns. Now, this is a long series. This could go on for 6-7 games. I don't know. I don't see it going that far, but you never know. There might be adjustments in there. But I don't see it with Dallas. I don't see it with their depth, especially considering the depth of the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, I don't see it at all. But the thing is like when you're watching the game towards the end and Luka's sitting there with this evil grin on his face, it puts a little bit of horror into me, just a tiny bit. Just like, damn, dude, is this guy just going to take over next game on me? Everything I just said about him being out of shape and all this stuff, like, because he can. And I think it's kind of like the Kobe thing where it's like, remember when the Suns played in Game 7, didn't shoot or whatever, but he was just a ball hog the whole series?
Yes.
I feel like Luka just has to just do even more. And he can't turn the ball over like he was, but he has to just take over. He has to shoot every time down the floor. He has to like get to the rim, draw the fouls if he can. Like he has to be a pain in the ass next game for them to even have a chance to win the game.
No, absolutely. But again, more than anything, he needs his team to assist him. Because once again tonight, his team couldn't come through because the Phoenix Suns do a good job of closeouts. That's the difference between this and the Jazz series. I mean, I don't know how many of you watched that Jazz series, but I watched it plenty. And trust me, it's hard watching anybody play the Utah Jazz. They're a unfun team to watch.
Just their jerseys alone.
Their jerseys alone. I can't deal with them, And the thing that killed the Jazz in that series is Luka was doing what he's doing now, but he would do the kickouts, and those guys would be wide open, and the Jazz didn't have the ability to recover on defense. I mean, we saw it in Game 1, the way that Mikal Bridges closed out on that one play where he was like halfway across the court and he still got the block. Those are the things that you can't game plan for. And I think that the Phoenix Suns, against this team, their lack of athleticism, their lack of depth, I can't see it necessarily being productive for the Dallas Mavericks. Now, when Luka Doncic is sitting on the sidelines, he's got that little evil grin. Do you think that's because he's tasting in his mouth some of Chris Paul's fart?
You can't give me. I'm not going to answer. You're going to do it, dude. I know what you're going to do.
I didn't get Matthew.
You have to do. I know it's coming, so you got to switch it up somehow.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I still fell into it. I feel terrible about myself
Damn it.
again.
Damn it. Okay.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
So there I was, hanging out on the Mavericks subreddit. This thing's gonna fall. This is my Princess Peach crown.
Oh man, beautiful.
So there I was, hanging out on the Mavericks subreddit. And here's kind of what they thought in this game. Go ahead and pull up the banner so people who, if they're just tuning in, know what the fuck we're doing. One person said, "I tried to warn y'all about Phoenix. They're so much better than us." Exact same start as last game. And again, that was one of the big things coming into this game.
Yeah.
The Dallas Mavericks said, "Hey, in the last game they jumped on us. We weren't ready. We're going to be ready in game 2." They weren't.
No. Our ready is a little bit more ready than theirs, I guess.
A lot ready. So let's see. Not starting Kleber is criminal at this point. Is it Kleba or Kleber?
You know what? Who does he
Everyone
play
says
for?
Maxi Kleba.
Oh, Kleber.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just call him Maxi, man.
All right.
Maxi Pad, man.
So not starting the Maxi Pad is criminal at this point. Say what you want about Rick, referencing Rick Carlisle, their former head coach, but he made the needed lineup adjustments in a series. Kleba would have been starting last series. So they're pining for Kleba over
How
Dwight
is he
Powell at
not?
this point. I don't know how he is either.
You know what? I used to be scared of Powell a little bit until like now he's just getting dominated by even McGee. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing he can do down there, man. And what do you have? 3,000 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of them did. Luka is another level. Please give this man a better constructed team. You literally have the Pat Mahomes of the NBA. I thought that was a very interesting observation. Do you think that Luka Doncic is the Pat Mahomes of the NBA? And if not, who is he?
Well, Luka is not because Pat Mahomes won a Super Bowl. Luka hasn't really even won this is like
True.
he only won one series so far.
True.
He hasn't. Yeah, this year.
Yeah, this is his first series he won.
I get it because of the passing. Who would he be in the NFL?
Yeah, who would he be in the NFL?
He would be Jerry Jones, for sure.
Okay, good call.
I don't
Both
know.
from Dallas.
Yeah.
Both from Dallas. Okay. Ooh, I like what B Dude said. He's the Dak Prescott.
I was gonna say that too.
I
but
could
I'm
totally say that. I think
why?
that's
Because he chokes in the playoffs.
because he chokes in the playoffs. He kind of whines a little bitch, or he's a little bitch and he whines. I can kind of see that.
Not really
Ooh, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray complains a lot too. Kyler Murray has some of the worst body language I've ever seen, and he's my quarterback.
Yeah.
And Luka Doncic has some of the worst body language. And Coach Fallen Founder says Lamar Jackson. That's another good call. He's another guy who has bad body language.
Luka is not as bad as he was, though. Maybe because they're losing, it's not as bad. But he doesn't seem like he complains as much as he used to. I know he complains.
No,
but
he probably doesn't. But yeah,
he
you're right.
Said he wasn't on that JJ Redick podcast. He said he was going to kind of stop because it looks bad.
Yeah,
but no one believed him. But I feel like he kind of has.
I feel like he definitely whines less, but I still notice it every time, and that's probably because I'm specifically looking for us.
Why do I feel bad for him?
And then we get into the fouling. This is good for us. Let it be a foul fest. And then somebody's like, "You get a foul. You get a foul. Look under seat. You get a foul."
Yeah.
And the rant went on. This is ridiculous. I don't think I've ever seen so many whistles. Foul here, foul there. I just want the fouls to stop on both sides. Seriously, please. Refs might need to get fresh whistles, wearing them out. So if you look at the foul, I mean, that was a big part of the narrative, especially in the second and third quarter. If you look at through the first 3 quarters of this game, right, total of 60 minutes were played. Personal fouls, let's see here. Hold on. Pulling it up. 22 to 40. Yeah, 43. There was 21 fouls in the first game. There was 43 through 3 in this one. Talk about how horrible this game was to watch simply due to the fact that Tony Brothers clearly was not hugged enough as a child and wanted attention. Like I said at the Twitter space, Scott Foster's out there like singing along to Jack Harlow songs now because he was caught on audio saying, "Who the hell's Jack Harlow?" after he was introduced in the crowd in a recent game. And Tony Brothers isn't getting that love, and it's clearly hurting his feeling, and he wants attention.
Yeah, I'll say this again. After the Suns, if they win a chip, I'm done. I think because basketball is just, you have these moments where you're just like, what am I doing? Why am I watching this kind of game when they're going back and forth with whose whistle's the loudest? I don't understand. Like it takes away from the game so much. I do feel like that. I'm like, if the Suns can win a chip, I think I'm done with basketball, man. I'll go to the games and do the podcast, but I'm not watching any basketball anymore.
You're going to be very boring to talk to on the podcast.
I'll just have you photocopy your notes, send them over.
There you go. There you go.
Email, fax them to me.
Jay Crowder, Gator Tail, hair ass won't talk as much on a lottery team. Let's face it, old bitch ass. That's what one Redditor said. Y'all don't want to hear it. Go ahead.
Oh, he got a technical too, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He could have got a second one.
Stupid.
He could have got a second one. He earned one when he closed out on Jalen Brunson, stood over him and talked shit to him. That's when that comment from a Redditor came out. Y'all don't want to hear it, but Bridges is making Luka his fucking bitch right now.
Oh, that's why we drafted him, dude.
Amen.
We got the 1-2 punch for Luka.
And then you had CP3 go crazy in the fourth quarter. One Redditor. The hatred I have for Chris Paul could probably turn a light on. Fucking bitch ass midget Dwayne Wade. The hatred that they had could turn a light on. That's a great phrase. I love this subreddit stakeout because I'm learning all these new phrases to just express things. It's great.
Man, if I was the opposing team and I was watching Chris Paul walk around with his big butt, I would be so mad too.
Oh,
man.
I'd be so pissed.
Big midget butt.
And then somebody else said, crazy how the CP3 contract, or that crazy how CP3 was worth his contract. How about that? Amen.
Even more.
They are too good. Brunson can't do anything against their length. Spencer and Bertans produce less than KP in a wheelchair. And Carlisle is not our coach. Genuinely embarrassing showing. And then the last comment from the subreddit stakeout, the meanest comment, if you will. I hope Booker and Paul never win a championship. That's just mean, man.
Please.
That's just mean.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
All right. I hope y'all like that.
That was beautiful, man.
I look so much
Looks
better with a
good.
hat on, don't I, Jamsters? I love hats.
No, I like what God gave you.
No, he didn't give me much hair on top. I'll tell you that. That's for
That's all you
damn
need.
sure. Let's see. What else do I have here to discuss from this game? Scrolling back up. 22 fouls. Bismack. One thing of note is the Mavericks went 15 and went on a 15-6 run when Luka was out in the second quarter. That's one of those things that we have to do a better job of in Dallas. Is the Luka minutes sitting on the bench is that's got to be big. That's going to be one of my main adjustments looking into Game 3. Is the minutes when Luka's on the bench, you have to dominate those minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't scare me as much. I know like our bench has to play better defensively and offensively. Payne needs to do a better job with that unit still in the first half. But the thing is, I just feel like Luka being on the bench, not on the bench, I don't think there's much of a difference. Does that make any sense? Like I just don't fear Luka like if it were like the way that freaking Brandon Ingram was playing last when he was on the bench and the Suns couldn't last with their bench unit.
Yeah.
And then he came back in. You're like, dude, Brandon Ingram's on the bench. We got to get these points. We got to start getting that lead, that 10-point lead or so. And then Ingram comes back in and just dominates. Like, I don't feel that same kind of domination from Luka. You know what I mean? I don't feel dominated as much, you know? So
I'm just annoyed more than anything because of the high usage rate. I like what Scheinbach says in the chat. I still don't think Cam Payne is playing good basketball.
No, he's not.
We touched on this during our Twitter space. So a reminder, everybody, subscribe, rate, review while you're here, but also go follow us on Twitter at Suns Jam because we do live Twitter spaces. And if you have thoughts and opinions and you want to contribute to that conversation, you just got to request to speak. We'll give you the mic. Tell us what you're viewing. It's very fun. But tell us what you think about Cameron Payne's performance tonight and thus far in the series and thus far in the playoffs. And just to give everyone kind of an overview, 2 of 4 from the field in 12 minutes played in this game, 4 total points, 4 assists, and a turnover.
Just like DeAndre Ayton, when we talk about, hey, can he be more aggressive? Like when DeAndre Ayton's not playing well, it's like, be more aggressive, dunk the ball, all this bullshit we throw out there, like trying to make him a different player. I'm not trying to make Cameron Payne or Landry Shamet a different player, but they have to get it together to where we trust him. And they have, like I said before, like that swagger on the court, the thing when they come in where we used to be like, yes, Cameron Payne's coming in. And then Shamet, we never felt that way, but Cameron Payne, we always felt really comfortable with him. We got to feel that again because when he's back on the court, we just don't know what to expect. So, of course, if the Suns do win the series in 4 or 5, the next series against, teams like Memphis Grizzlies or Golden State Warriors, those are 2 teams where it's just like, dude, they hit on all cylinders. They have a lot of guys in there that have a lot of quote-unquote swagger or whatever.
Yeah.
They need to match that with their second unit with Cameron Payne. They have to have that where Cameron Payne is comfortable on the court with himself. And, garbage time, I think he had a few points, but he needs it we need it in the first half because it depends when we're playing this Mavericks team right now. Of course, we can get away with them bleeding at halftime. It'd be a close game, but these other teams, it'll be like the Mavericks shooting those threes times 2. You know what I mean? I'm not saying the Memphis can go off from 3, but they can go on some runs and they can go up quick if you don't watch it. So we need that from Cameron Payne to match their energy going into the next series. And I don't want to get too far ahead. I'm just saying that's what I wanted to see this series.
Well, yeah, I want to see some improvement from Cam Payne because he had a bad series against the New Orleans Pelicans. I mean, there's no 2 ways about it. Cam Payne, who played fantastic in the bubble, who was really an integral part of the playoff run last season. If you look at what he's done thus far in the playoffs, and you look at that that series against the Pelicans, he ended that series shooting a total of 16.7% from beyond the arc. He had 31% from the field total, 5.7 points per game, but he really struggled to get there, and 9 points in game one. He's got 4 points in game two. Like, we're just, and I've said it and I'll say it again. He will earn his drop back. And I like his drop that we created for him here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. He'll earn it back when he puts up 15 points. But you're right. It's the energy level that he's bringing in. It's a discombobulated energy. It's not consistent energy. It's more of him trying to seek out fouls, seeking out content, complaining to the refs a little bit. Like, he needs to focus in and try to run that offense, because to your point, if we advance to the Western Conference Finals, Cam Payne's going to be a vital part of getting this team to an NBA Finals appearance again. He's just got to be. You have to have that sustained offense, and you have to have that guy who can run that offense when CP3 and Booker are not on the floor. Landry Shamet's looking a little bit better. His shots are starting to fall. I like the way that he played. At least he played good defense in the last series. Cam Payne has just been kind of discombobulated on both ends of the court, and he's got an opportunity to correct that issue. But it's got to start now. It's got to start now.
It does. And also, Blue Gold did say in the chat, though, Cam Payne has played bad all season. There was a time, though, this season where he did look like our future point guard. I remember our podcast, PHNX, even talked about it, where they were talking about, and we talked about, like, hey, yeah, when Chris Paul leaves, here we go. This is our point guard. Like, we saw that from him. So we do need that. And really quick, Gary Payton was on the podcast with Ryan Russillo, and he was talking about, like, when the guys get into games and they have a couple minutes here or there, like, they don't know if they're going to get more minutes or not. Like, they worry about that stuff. It's on their mind.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think Cameron Payne, of course, in his head, he's just like, I have to make sure that I get plus minutes before Chris Paul comes in. And I think that's really affecting him mentally. I just think that's a big issue with him, mental. That's just something he's always had. So he needs to get over that somehow. It might be not till the end of the season, but he needs to get over it quick, I think, for the Suns to succeed.
No, I completely agree. And he needs to, lock in. So you look at kind of that stretch when CP3 was out, right? Cam Payne was averaging, like 16 points a game and a bunch of assists. He had a game. He had a 17.16 assist performance against the Knicks. He went for 9-11, 11-10, 18-12. I mean, so he's shown this season his confidence is what drives him to success. And I just feel right now he's just not playing confident enough. So again, there is time, but we need to start seeing it now versus later, because we don't need to see him struggle in the Western Conference Final.
No.
Jam Star of the Game.
All right, Jamsters, a reminder, subscribe, rate, review, hit the join button if you want to become an elite Jamster to get exclusive content from the Suns Jam Session podcast. And if you are listening to the pod, please stop by Apple Podcasts, leave a review, and give us 5 stars. Again, we'll read it right here on the pod. Let us know if you are watching along live who your Jam Star of the Game is. Matthew, I'm going to go first this time. It is CP3.
All right. Matthew Chris Paul Lissy, huh? Damn, that dude. Just amazing. Nothing else to say about him, man.
Just what a fourth. Like, the game, we were winning. We were up by 6 points. So we were up 99-96. Luka hit that 3 and got it down to 6 points. And then Chris Paul happened.
And then 95, yeah.
And Chris Paul said it in the post-game interview on the sideline. The question was something along the lines of, how do you do this? How do you execute this? He goes,
good question.
Well, it's like, and pretty much his response, paraphrased by myself, is I play the entire game and I watch the entire game. And what he's saying by saying that is I'm looking for any opportunity I can, and I'm playing chess the entire time. And when that time comes, when I see Luke out there and he's huffing and puffing, and we've worked his ass into a dough ball. Now I'm going to attack him on defense on every possession, and I'm just going to own him. And Chris Paul hits unbelievably tough shots. I mean, he had like a 20-footer where I was like, why is he taking that shot? Nothing but net. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's the point guard.
You think it's going in. I've never had, even with Booker, how great of a shooter he is. Like Booker's very streaky, right? Very underrated shooter, I guess.
Mhm.
According to Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
But even Chris Paul.
Hold on, just real quick.
Reggie says.
Reggie says that Devin Booker is a very streaky shooter.
Yeah.
He's an underrated shooter.
But Chris Paul's another level where you just think if it doesn't go in, it's crazy. It's a bad game by Chris Paul. He misses 3 shots. It's like, what the hell's wrong with this dude? So we're just used to it always going in, nothing but net.
It's beautiful, especially in that fourth.
Yes.
Man. It's just beautiful. All right. Next up for the Phoenix Suns, it's going to be a Friday night game, game 3. Any adjustments that you can see either the Suns making or the Mavericks making?
Well, it's funny because we actually hit on one thing we thought we talked about last pod where they would crash the boards more. That wasn't a thing. They didn't.
No.
Well,
so I don't know. When we made everything.
Well, I think because the Suns got out too quickly, right? If you're crashing the boards and we got the ball, then it's over. Because the way we facilitate the ball in the full court offense when we're running the fast break, it's unstoppable. So maybe that's why they're looking out for that. I just think the only thing that is left is Luka just taking over to an insane level, come back with the complaining, make sure that he is crying just a little bit, cry a little bit on the court. Luka might help you win a game. I'm being serious. Like he might have to start crying a little bit for the Dallas Mavericks.
He's already fist pumping the refs. Like now he's got to literally just cry on their shoulder.
Yeah, and like talking shit with everybody, that's normal. You walk into that stadium, you're with everybody, even the hot dog guy, you're gonna fucking yell at him, be like, what the fuck, you piece of trash. Like that's what you'd say to the hot dog guy, because it's American food, right? But it's the one where if you choke on it, you might fucking die. So why are they serving that to everybody? It doesn't make any sense. And Luka needs to take over. But for the Suns, it comes down to Cam Payne. I know the foul trouble was like tonight, but it wasn't like bad fouls. It wasn't fouls where it was like, what the hell are you doing, DeAndre? Ayton will have a good game next game. Cam Payne, that's all I'm looking for, really, is a good Cam Payne game and Cameron Johnson to continue his effort that he had in the second half.
Yeah. The first half, obviously, due to the foul trouble and the bad 4 minutes he had in the first quarter, but he got cooking in the second half. I wonder what the shit talking was like, because I know when Luka was a rookie, you and I went to the first game that he played against Phoenix, and we had some really nice seats. We were down there center court, probably 6 or 7 rows up. Buddy at work gave me some great seats. Blue Moon Lounge or whatever. And remember how unmerciful the fans around there were talking shit to Luka every time he walked up the court? There was one guy who was just roasting him. And I'm sure there was a a lot of that tonight. You know,
Luka grabbed his crotch too. I remember that part.
Yeah, I remember that too.
At the end of the game.
You know, this series is shifting to Dallas. Okay, so their bench is going to get a bump. Now, granted, it's not a deep bench, but their bench is going to get a bump. Every time one of those 3-pointers come in, that place is going to go crazy at American Airlines Center. And the Suns just have to sustain the emotion and use it as fuel to the fire. And we have a great team to do that. And Devin Booker and Chris Paul, you know, they can set the tone. And I look for, you know, when it comes to adjustments, I really think that the Dallas Mavericks are going to have to do something to try to just defensively, they can't hang with the Suns. They can't stop our ball movement. They can't stop the way that we close out on defense and at least get a hand in the face of their shooters. So you're right. It's going to have to be a nuclear performance by Luka Doncic, and he's going to need assistance. Again, tonight, Spencer Dinwiddie, 3 of 10 from the field. Jalen Brunson, 3 of 12 from the field. That's 6 for 22 combined from the 2 guys who are supposed to give him offensive assistance. It's just not gonna hold up. Reggie Bullock, he went for 36 minutes. He had 16 points. But other than Luka going for 35, Bullock having 16, and Spencer Dinwiddie having 11, no one else was in double figures for this team. It's going to be hard. Where do they get the offense from? That's the challenge. It's going to be Luka or what? Now, it'll happen. They will have a game where, especially at home, you're going to see a lot of engagement. You're going to see guys' confidence rise. And, you know, I'll tell you, if we get a Scott Foster game, then they'll definitely win. You know,
yeah, they'll win that one for sure. But just really quick, too, Oh yeah, get those Fs. You know, it's funny. I was gonna have it behind me to show everybody, but you're gonna got
For
it.
those of you who are listening, I just pulled up a graphic of some T-shirts that we made here at the Suns Jam Session podcast. I know everybody loves the "Fuck Jay Crowder" shirts. Well, we got "Fuck Scott Foster" shirts available at our Redbubble shop in purple and orange and black and white and all the colors of the rainbow. So, yeah, wear those.
Unless we beat him, then it's fine. But you know, it just shows like no one really watches the Suns. Jeff Van Gundy, Mike V Hills just said on Twitter. Jeff Van Gundy on Low Post said that the Suns don't have the personnel to attack individual bad defenders. I was just reading this.
It's like,
Like,
what?
does anybody watch the Suns? I don't think anybody still watches the Suns. No one, and I don't expect everyone to watch every game. Of course, it's impossible. But like, just don't say something. Like, even on this podcast, if I talk about a team and I don't know, like Brunson, I went off for how long, and I was like, oh, yeah, him coming off the bench, and you call me out on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that needs to happen on podcasts. It's like, are you sure you know what you're talking about? So, anyways, where were we? Oh, it's already 1 hour, dude.
Is it really?
Dang.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I was like reading Twitter while you were talking in here. We're just
Shut
I'm just fucking with you. Anything else you want to talk about? I mean, what an amazing game. Enjoy these games, Suns fans. These are the fun ones. After that series we had with New Orleans, where everything's scratch and claw and struggle, we beat the shit out of this team in game 1, and then we didn't let up in game 2. We should be feeling good about ourselves. We're going to Dallas. It's TCOB. Take care of business there, and turn this team into the Denver Nuggets from last year and beat them in 4. I'm all for that.
Yeah, I'm all for it too, man. Let's just one more loss. Let's save it for the Western Conference Finals, right? Just one more loss until the
No
finals.
more loss.
So
No more losses the rest of the season. How about that?
okay,
I would love that.
Let's do that. Save it for the finals. One loss there.
No
What
losses.
am I talking? Just
Yeah,
no
shut the
losses.
fuck up, Matthew.
Why do I want a loss?
I have no idea. You're like, yeah,
that
let's
way
just
I'm
do
right.
one more. It's fine.
I want to be right. That's why.
Well, on that note, Jamsters, thank you for joining the Suns Jam Session podcast, the best post-game podcast on Planet Orange. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review. You can follow me on Twitter at Darth Voida. You can follow Matthew.
At Matthew Lucy.
And you can follow the show at Suns Jam. Again, join us on our Twitter spaces live at halftime. And then, of course, here at the end of every game. We'll see you on Friday night. Go Suns, baby. Go Suns.
Go home and love your family.
Beep.